Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and I am super excited to bring you my interview with Harry Soo from Slap Yo Daddy BBQ. He's out here in Diamond Bar, California. It's not too far from me. He is such an interesting guy. He's definitely a force of nature. There's no one else like Harry. He is so inspirational. I first got to know him, and a lot of people got to know him on Barbecue Pitmasters, the very first season of Barbecue Pitmasters. He talks about that. There's a good chunk where he talks about that. This starts out with the interview portion, and then the last maybe 20 minutes or so is a cook. He's cooking while we talk quail 6 different ways. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg of the crazy stuff that he does on his YouTube channel, which I'll put links below. He has over 50 brisket recipes, and probably more by the time this goes live. He tries things every which way, and if you subscribe to his Patreon channel, which you should, which is like $3.25 at the minimum or up to $100, he has a bunch of different tiers. Really smart guy, really clever. He'll engage with you if you write him on YouTube or write him on Instagram. He said he commented 58,000 times on YouTube last year, in 2020. So I don't want to take too much away from the heart of the interview, but know that Harry is really, really special, and I can't thank him enough for taking the time. His philosophy is live life with intensity, and you could tell he does. He wants to help get people together, bring people together through barbecue. He does. I know you're going to enjoy this. I know there's going to be a lot you're going to take from it. And in the portion where he shows the cooking of the quail, it's about 20 minutes or so. He gives a lot of tips and tricks, and it's like a inside, behind-the-scenes guide to Harry's mind and how he cooks. And I know you're going to dig that too. So that's on the YouTube side only. So if you're listening to the podcast, jump over to the YouTube. You can check that out. And the Kevin's Barbecue Joints podcast is brought to you by Centex Smokers. They're available at Centex_smokers on Instagram. Michael Johnson's the owner. Great stuff, great people, Centex Smokers. I have a website, kevinsbbqjoints.com. Check it out, all the podcast, YouTube stuff. Subscribe if you're liking these. I just hope they're a useful resource. Hope you have a great week.
One of my Patreons had actually caught the lobster off San Clemente or off Long Beach.
Okay.
And he gave me the lobster live delivered to my front door. I cooked the lobster, and then I did a surf and turf as part of my Zoom session. It's called a SCA Steak Masterclass, teaching people how to cook a competition-grade ribeye. When all hell broke loose, the lobster was on the pit. So luckily for me, the fire in the pit died. So I had 2 accidents, right? So the fire died, so the lobster didn't get overcooked. So it's one of those rare situations where a little calamity actually helped the situation get better.
And then that happens often. Was that a spiny lobster? Because I think a lot of the lobsters off of California are spiny, right?
Yeah, it's a California lobster. Yes, I guess he does this a lot, and he really knows his way on how to get the lobster from the ocean. So yeah, you know me, right? If you catch it, Harry will cook it.
That's it. You have a lot of slogans. Well, I want to go back at least to the beginning. When did you start Slap Yo Daddy Barbecue, and how did you get the name?
Slap Yo Daddy began as an accident after a movie called The Bucket List, starring Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson over a dozen years ago. One of my project managers at work came to work and said, "Hey guys, I saw a great movie over the weekend. It's about these 2 guys, going through the end of life. Since we are a bunch of IT nerds, we really need to do something with our life before we kick the bucket." So, wow. At my staff meeting, she just handed out a piece of paper to everybody and a pencil and said, "Hey, guys, write down what you think you want to do on your bucket list." So we thought, hey, why not? Let's indulge her. Her name was Terry Bishop. And we wrote down a kind of a list of things we wanted to do. So we wrote down the normal things. And then after we got done with that session, she said, "Hey, let's make it interesting. Let's write some stretch goals." So let's say, Kevin, you always wanted to water ski, but you never water ski. So I'll write you a stretch goal. Hey, Kevin, go take a water skiing class and water ski, right?
Okay.
So for me, they knew I like to cook because at work, I would bring barbecue in. Whenever the African American Association had a fundraiser at work, I have a few of my staff members who are African American, so I would cook the barbecue. Yeah. And then they would serve it during the fundraiser in the building. And I work in the building in downtown LA with 1,000 people. So my soul brothers and sisters would walk through the building and eat the food, and they always thought that some of my African American coworkers made it. Nobody knew that I made it.
That's so funny.
Because I do not look like a pitmaster, honestly. Through the form. So what happened was they say, "Harry, since you like to cook, why don't you just enter a contest like the one you see on TV where they turn in the worst white styrofoam boxes, judging to judges?" So I say, "Sure, why not? Right? Life is short, so live it with intensity." So I decided I'll cook one contest to just have fun. Mm-hmm. I brought the application form for the contest in Palm Springs to work, and I showed them, "Hey guys, due to your prodding, I'm going to do one contest and be done with just one contest. So I'll get you off my back and I'll be done with my bucket list. So they look at my form and they say, Harry, what is the team name you use? I say, I put my team name as the bucket list because I'm going to use it one time only. Never going to use it again.
Okay.
So they said that was boring, and they said they wanted to come up with their own name for my team. So I said, why not? I don't care. I'm never going to use it again. Come up with any name you want. I'll just write it on a piece of paper.
Okay.
So, Kevin, apparently in the South, some of my coworkers are from the South. So they told me, Harry, when you cook something that is so good, you want to go and slap somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm fine. What do you want to call my team? So since I'm a daddy, they said, why don't you call your team name Slap Yo Daddy? So my first instinct was, that is a stupid name. Who wants to be a Slap Yo Daddy BBQ, right? So out of, to amuse my coworker, I wrote it down on a piece of paper. We never any intention to ever use the name again.
That is hilarious.
I told myself, I'll just go to a contest in Palm Springs, right? Be incognito, just go there quietly, do my little thing, turn in my food, and then run home, and then we're done. I'm done with the bucket list. So long story short, I ended up winning contest. I entered. And I had no idea what I was doing. I took my entire kitchen. So I went to my kitchen, packed everything and all the things that I possibly would never, ever need, threw it in my van and drove to Palm Springs and cooked my first contest. And that is kind of the start of my crazy, crazy adventure.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It's taken off. It's actually taken off. I have been around the world. I taught in London, Kuala Lumpur, Australia, competed all over America, even ended up on a few TV shows. So it's been a crazy, crazy journey.
I think I started to see your name, and I started to see you around. But then I noticed too, because you were doing a lot of classes, and that became, because you still do your day job, so to speak, right? Don't you? Are you still doing IT or
yes?
No?
I do. I build data centers for a living, so I'm an IT program manager. So I oversee about 12 different project managers, about 60 million worth of projects. Okay. We spend approximately $500,000 a week. So the idea is that I actually got into barbecue as a therapy, because in my normal day job, I have no control over anything. I deal with attorneys, engineers, developers, infrastructure people. Yeah. So when I cook barbecue, it's just me. So it's just me and the meat. So for me, it's kind of having a sense of control over my life, that I could actually control my environment for a few hours, and I can unwind from my busy, crazy day. So I always say barbecue is therapy. If you cook from your heart, it's really a fun way to enjoy your time. At the same time, feed a lot of friends and family.
But then when did you start doing the classes?
I started cooking one contest I won it. So then I started, this is fun. So I dragged my childhood buddy, Mark, who also lives in Los Angeles, and I would drag him along on weekends to compete for fun. Now, then my coworkers heard that I am a competitor, and apparently word got around in my building of 1,000 people in downtown LA that I have won trophies. So next thing I know, right, my coworkers are calling me and say, hey, Harry, can you teach us how to cook barbecue? So I would offer them advice at work and on the phone, and help them coach them. And they say, no, we want to take a class from you. And I say, I have no time for a class. Okay, I'm a busy person. Yeah. So one day on a Saturday morning, my coworkers showed at my front door. They knocked on my front door. And they say, Harry, we are here.
Just out of the blue?
We can't escape now. You can't say, no, we are here. So teach us the class. So I taught a few coworkers just an impromptu thing, just help them coach them in my backyard. And next thing you know, what do? They go back to work and they tell the whole building. So a whole bunch of people started pestering me.
Didn't you start getting people from all over the place, right?
It started with work, right? So I did as a favor to my workers, taught a few people how to barbecue. And I thought, okay, fine. I'll help my coworker. And, it allows me to get things done. So whenever I need to do purchasing, I need things from engineering, things move a lot smoother because, you give them barbecue. So then they started telling their friends, and their friends started telling their friends. And I started to have strangers call me. So then I thought to myself, well, the revenue from the classes will allow me to conduct what I call barbecue philanthropy, because a lot of people know that a lot of the things I do for barbecue, a lot of the net proceeds benefit charity. Yeah. Because I already have a job, I have a career, so I'm doing barbecue more like a hobby for philanthropy than actually kind of make a living. I don't make a living from barbecue. I just do it for fun. So what happened was then I thought to myself, well, maybe I can teach one class a year and have a few people come to my backyard and just shoot the breeze and, enjoy some food. Because I enjoy cooking and I enjoy sharing my love for barbecue, what little I know about barbecue with people. Mm-hmm. And then I taught one class, it was sold out. And then next thing you know, then people tell people that tell people, and it became like a grassroots word of mouth. And people started to call me for classes, so much so they say, okay, fine, why don't I try to teach one class every 6 months? Then it became all the way to 2 classes a month, sometimes 3 classes a month.
Wow.
So the only reason I could do that is because I have a lot of kids in the neighborhood that my children know. So what happens, I actually recruited a lot of the kids in my neighborhood to come and kind of help me do the class,
Oh,
because
that's
my
nice.
class is really what I call a crazy class, because we cook 24 items in 6 hours from
Whoa.
scratch. I call it the barbecue insanity class because if you ever attended a barbecue class taught by any of the pitmasters around the country,
Yeah.
the classes are quite kind of a relaxed pace, right? If you go to Myron class, you go to Johnny Tree class,
Or
you
Tuffy, or yeah.
basically start cooking on Friday, you finish on Saturday afternoon, right? It's a 24-hour cook,
Yeah.
and they cook about 4 meats. So I decided that no, Harry doesn't like to do it that way. Harry wants to give you the maximum bang for your buck. I would take you from zero to hero in 6 hours. And I know everybody comes to my class, right? There's a certain repertoire you need to know. You need to know how to cook chicken, right? You need to know how to cook ribs, many kinds of ribs. You need to know how to cook pork. You need to know how to cook brisket, very important. You need to know how to cook a steak. You need to know how to cook tri-tip, and you need to know how to make sides. So I kind of created this class that
Wow.
evolved years. And right now, my current iteration of the class, I need 3 helpers just to keep up with me, because we are throwing so much at you that literally in 6 hours, your brain explodes, your stomach explodes, and you pass out from food coma. So not only do we cook, we eat throughout the entire class. There's going to be like appetizers. We do pig candy. We do jalapeno poppers. We throw everything at you during the class. So it's a lot of fun. People really love it. And then the Yelp review started to come out. And then Yelp would call me and say, hey, Harry, you must be gaming the Yelp system. Nobody can have 5 stars, 100 5-star. You don't even have 1 4-star. You must be cheating the system. So what's your stick? What's your secret? So I tell people, hey, I just teach my class. People come and they have a good time.
And that's the whole point. Now, when's the last time you did one of these classes? Because of COVID, you haven't had been able to do these in person.
I put everything on hiatus right in March, because the COVID hit us all, between the eyeballs in March of last year. And I have been doing primarily Zoom classes. I have a few clients also who want one-on-one. So I've done a few what I call one-on-one classes, only in an outdoor setting.
So but also too, if people reach out, and I'll put all your information below on how to get a hold of you for everything. But can people reach out to do Zoom classes with you?
Yes, I started actually on Patreon. So I started Patreon.
Yeah, let's jump to the Patreon. Perfect.
So one of my YouTube viewers suggested that since I do a lot of work on YouTube, and I wasn't getting really compensated by YouTube, maybe I could keep my channel going, because I spent a lot of money on the meats and preparing the production.
Oh, yeah.
They say, why don't you get on a system called Patreon.com? So Patreon is not a new concept, right? So everybody knows who Leonardo da Vinci is.
Mm-hmm. You'd hope so.
So Patreon originated from those days where an artist would essentially get sponsored by patrons so that he or she could create works of art that would be shown to the patrons, but later on would be shown to the public. So this idea was adopted by...
I didn't know that. That is so great, Harry. Thank you.
A few people got the idea from patrons being of the past, and then they created a website called patreon.com. And it allows creators like myself and creative people to be able to put out their work and have patrons support their work. Kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So what I did was I said, why not? Let me try that and see if anybody wants to support what I do. And I'm very, very blessed and fortunate that 200 old people decided to help me, to sponsor me.
As well as me.
Content. So
it's great.
So, and including Kevin. And Kevin, I really, really appreciate your help, because every bit of that help goes towards producing content, forwarding the message that barbecue can be used to spread love in this world. More love and more kindness through barbecue.
And talk about the different levels, because there's 6 different levels that you could join?
When I started Patreon, I wanted to create different tiers. I know like people approach me and say, Harry, can you come to my backyard to cook for me? I say, okay.
Sure.
Someone like Guy Fieri, he charges $75,000 to show up at your birthday party. I won't charge $75,000, but I charge you some money. But if you become my patron, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we do this? Why don't you become my patron for a certain tier? And if you are a patron for after so many months, if you live within the United States and you're willing to fly me out, I'll go and cook for you.
Okay.
So that's the kind of outreach I wanted to reach. So I created like a half a dozen tiers within Patreon. I know some people can only afford a cup of coffee a month. So I say, well, why don't I set the tier at a cup of Starbucks, which is like $3.25. And I kind of put it at $10, $20, $30, and all the way up to $100 to see if people are willing to help, and then they help at the level they feel comfortable. So there's no pressure. If you are a higher tier, I provide additional services, like I provide one-on-one support. I provide Zoom coaching. So it's kind of cool that you're cooking your brisket, you're in trouble, You
Yeah.
turn on your phone.
No, that's great.
Harry's on your phone, and Harry sees what you're doing, and Harry coaches you live to prevent a disaster. And I can tell you, there are some patrons who are extremely, extremely grateful that they had that call a friend service from me.
That's completely unique. There's almost no way you could do that with anyone. And I know I haven't never. And I'm putting together a blog piece on barbecue Patreon pages, and there's not a whole lot that are I highlight because there's really not a lot of great ones out there. But there's yours. I know Leroy and Lewis. They have one that they do some really unique original content. But with yours, I've never heard of that kind of service.
Yeah, I can give you
that's
another
so unique.
example. I had a guy from the Middle East. He was trying to open a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and he had no idea what barbecue was. He was trying to open a restaurant, and he was spending over $150,000 on equipment.
Wow.
So a simple 20-minute phone call from me saved him $100,000. How
Wow.
cool is that?
That's
That
amazing.
I could guide him and say, okay, that's gonna work. That's not gonna work. That maybe will work. So with just 20 minutes with me, I can guide you out of disaster.
Perfect.
And people who are caterers, I have people who are competitors. They call me and they say, Harry, talking to you for 10 minutes, right? Completely solved all the problems I had cooking competition meets. Just 10 minutes talking to me because I can give them the unvarnished advice that works, right?
And you've cooked every meat every different way, like, and there's still new ways that you're doing every time, but also you've had all these failures too, and which leads to success. It's you've troubleshooted ahead of time for people.
And I tell people that a simple tip I give you, you may not be aware. Something I reveal to you in 10 seconds is the result, 10,000 hours of trial and error.
Yeah.
So you don't have to cook chicken 47 times because Harry's already figured it out for you. For example, this quail, we have 6 quails on the pit right now, right?
Uh-huh.
So I cooked quail 6 ways. So after this cook, I'll know how the fragile and delicate quail meat reacts to different acids, oils, and seasoning. Because I have every kind of seasoning in there because I cook like an MMA cook in the sense that I have no training. So I'm not a culinary CIA graduate or Gordon Blue. I cook like an MMA fighter. So I'll use the jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and taekwondo and everything at you in order to reach the pinnacle of perfection, which is to win a $10,000 check at a contest. So my cooking is not based on grounded by any culinary tradition. I apply whatever technique you work. You saw the example in there. I went to Korea, right? I went to Greece. I went to Japan. I went to Asia to create these 6 different flavor profiles. So at the end of the day, I'll know how the quail meat will behave with different kinds of cooking techniques.
Now, what kind of advice can you give other than yourself? How did you read a lot of books when you first started, or did you watch? Because I guess there wasn't a whole lot of content online at that time. So how did you, were you just so hungry? Did you call people? Were there people in Barbecue Brethren, or how did you get all this information in your head? Or you?
All of the above.
Okay.
All of the above, right? So the idea about learning is that, number one, you have to have curiosity.
For sure.
And you have to have motivation, right? Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of my favorite mentors, and I live by what he said. When he came to America, he couldn't speak English, and he, developed himself into not just a world champion, but he became the governor, and he's been very, very successful in the movies. He has a very simple philosophy, right? He worked 10 hours a day. He worked 10 hours a day in his regular job. He spent 5 hours in the gym. He spent 2 hours in acting school, spent 1 hour eating and having a shower, and slept 6 hours. And he said that if you sleep 6 hours is not enough, just learn to sleep faster and work the other 18.
Do you sleep 6 hours a night?
So, like, for example, I just finished my day job at 5 o'clock. I was answering phones and been on the phone since about 7:30 this morning. And then we finished the day at 5 o'clock. What do? I put on my hat. I put on my 6 pieces of Cornish hen. I'm on the podcast, on the Skype call with you, and I'm multitasking. As I'm talking to you, I'm actually watching how the meat cook, which is basically I better walk over and check the meat. For the rest of our brethren around the country who are in snow and rain, we are indeed very fortunate.
Yeah, I'm wearing shorts. I can see that you're wearing shorts right now. I've been wearing.
It's a shorts day today.
You said you're coming out with a bunch of 9 more rubs. So right now on your site, because I was looking at it about a week ago, you have rubs, you have merch. Do you have sauces too, or just rubs?
Yeah, I have just one sauce, my original championship sauce. So I have 3 sauces in the works. One is obviously a vinegar sauce. One is going to be a more sweet sauce, and one is going to be a more spicy sauce.
Okay.
So most pitmasters who have merch and products typically have a family of products.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been able to work on that, but given the COVID crisis, what I decided to do is spend a little bit more time kind of fine tuning some of the products I've been making at home,
Smart.
which I call like bench formula. So a bench formula takes a little bit of effort to convert into a commercial formula.
Okay.
So for your viewers out there who are watching this episode and they are interested to kind of get into the world of making product,
for sure,
you have to understand that making product is not that easy because there are many steps that you have to go through. And it just doesn't mean that the fact that you make it in the kitchen, it tastes good or looks good, that it can translate into a commercial success. Because the marketplace is really crowded with many, many good products.
There's certain name brands that are out there that aren't as good as what you can make at home.
Yeah, again, the cheapest ingredient is salt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of some of the commercial products you see out there, it's mostly salt.
Mm-hmm.
You can get flavor with salt, but I think that there's so much more complexity if you can add more ingredients to it. Besides just garlic powder and salt and pepper, there's many more ingredients you can put on your rub. And what is the fun thing to do is how you customize different rubs for different flavor profiles and different meats and also different cooking styles. For example, if you're making a steak rub that is going to be under high heat, you want to watch your sugar content because the sugar will caramelize at 5 different levels depending on sucrose, maltose, or glucose. So these are the things that you have to kind of go through and think about when you formulate products. And you have to make sure that the knucklehead that uses your product, right, doesn't burn themselves or burn the food.
And the knucklehead could be yourself.
You start with, I'm the number one knucklehead.
I am that, so am I.
I start with me first. And if I can idiot proof it, then it's a win. When I was formulating my rub, I never imagined that people would buy my product. But after I got on a TV show called BBQ Pitmasters, I got a little bit of notoriety because by some happenstance, I ended up winning the season finale.
Yeah.
And I ended up aging up a few world champions. And totally, unexpected, to be honest. When I ended up on that show and I met the people for the first time, I say, what am I doing on a show with 3 world champions, right? I'm just a guy from California.
Do you remember who was on that show?
It was a Tuffy Stone world champion, Myron Mixon. There was a Johnny Trigg, world-renowned legendary pitmaster. There was Leanne. There was Jamie. Jamie makes the famous Jambo pit. So for those of you who are not aware, there is a Lamborghini pit out there in the world. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to pay $1 for it. It's called a Jambo. So that's like the pinnacle of pits. And then there was another guy, Paul, also on the show, who was an award-winning chef in Dallas, in Texas. He's the guy who was all the talk of the town because he would do a blueberry demi-glaze with his steak. He was like the who's who of like new upstart, with the goatee and everything. He's
one of those, I remember seeing him because I watched that.
Michelin chefs, and he would do crazy things and be written up in all of the Texas magazines. And I hear, Harry Soo? Who's Harry Soo? So when I got on the show, right, I met the other people who were going to be on the show with me, and they looked at me and they say, why is he on the show? So who is he? What does he know how to cook? He's from California. So the only thing he knows how to cook is artichokes and tofu, right?
Of course. And tri-tip.
That was the kind of introduction I had on the show. But the nice thing is over the course of about 4 months, and we shot the season 1, we all became good friends. So that was really a nice kind of a way to get to know people from different walks of life. And then at the end of the show, I ended up winning the season finale. I gave California a little bit of street credibility that we can cook barbecue. It's not just tofu and artichokes.
Well, what's also interesting is those shows kind of paved the way for those were stepping stones for a lot of people in barbecue, and a lot of people became passionate about barbecue because of BBQ Pitmaster. That was the big show back then.
It was a ground zero. Some people considered it because before John Marcus, who's the executive producer, started the show, right? Barbecue wasn't that big in America, but he saw an opportunity, and John Marcus spent 2 years looking for the right talent to put on the show. And I ended up on the show totally by accident again.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Again, I tell people this story because in life, right, I want to pass a message that it is very important for you to be kind to everyone you meet in your life. Okay. Be kind to the barista who makes your coffee in the morning. Be kind to people that you meet in your daily life. You may meet them only for 5 seconds or 5 minutes, 5 years or 50 years. The importance of being kind to people is that generates a vibrational energy out to the universe that comes back and hits you on the side of the head any way that you can never possibly imagine. So the long story is that Carolyn Wells, the president of KCBS, she's a very famous, legendary, matriarch of barbecue in America. Some people credit her for starting American barbecue because she formed the KCBS, Kansas City Barbecue Society.
Yeah.
So I did not know this, but she was good friends with a TV producer called John Marcus. He produced The Cosby Show. He's an Emmy award-winning producer.
John Marcus was Cosby Show? I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of his credits. Just before in the old days.
Yeah. No, I just knew him for Barbecue Pitmasters. Wow, that's okay.
He had a litany of like if you Google his name, John Marcus, producer. He's like a who's who of the production.
Gotcha.
And he is a avid pitmaster. He always wanted to do a barbecue show, but he couldn't find people to fund the show. But eventually he scrounged up enough funding, and I guess the Discovery Channel decided to sponsor or pay for his show. And his show was very, very expensive to shoot because if you're a producer or project manager, to have 16 people follow 17 across the country over the course of 4 months, it's a very, very expensive proposition. You're going to pay for a lot of logistics because it's not shot in a set. So he got that idea approved, and he spent 2 years looking for 6 teams that would have the necessary personality and interesting characters to feature on a show. Because when you watch a TV show, you do not watch the show for cooking. You watch the show for the human aspect of the cooking. Is only a small percentage of the show. Why a show will be popular? It is really the people on a show that people relate to. Because when you see somebody on a show and you relate to that person, you want to continue to watch the show.
Yeah.
And the cooking is almost like secondary. Because cooking is just people don't tune in to learn how to shake you. They tune in for entertainment. So what happened was I got a phone call when I was cooking a contest in Fairfield in Northern California one day. And it was at 12:25. For those of you who are KCBS people, you know that when you cook a KCBS contest, you turn in chicken at noon, you turn in ribs at 12:30, you turn in pork at 1 o'clock, and you turn in brisket at 1:30. So at 12:25, my phone rings. So I said, who is calling me at this time? I'm in the middle of a contest.
That's perfect.
5 minutes of getting SBS. So I thought, okay, so I picked up the phone and said, hello, this is Harry. Then he said, hi, you don't know who I am. My name is John, and I'm a TV producer. So I said, yeah, and I hung up because I thought it was one the team pranking.
Yeah, trying to mess with you. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that sounds like a good prank.
Yeah, one of my friends, right? One of my friends on a site, right? So I didn't think anything about it until the next day. On drive home from Northern California, I looked down at my phone and I say, oh, shoot, there's a 212 area code. That's New York. So I told my buddy, Mark, hey, Mark, I thought I had a dream, but look, there was somebody who actually called me in the middle of the rip entry, and I thought it was one of my, friends pranking me. And I picked up the phone, I called him back, and I spoke to John, and then that was on Sunday. On Tuesday, he sent me a pile of paper this thick, which was the contract from the lawyers to put me on the show, just like that. So I never knew kind of like the story behind how he ended up knowing about me because he spent 2 years. He found me through Carolyn Wells because apparently at a contest in Stagecoach in California, I was one of the teams there. And, I kind of stick out like a sore thumb because when you go to a barbecue contest, right, and you see the sign, Slap Yo Daddy, and then you walk up and you see me, what is the first thing you will say? Where is the pitmaster? So my standard response is that, oh, he's went to the bathroom, right? Because I don't look like a pitmaster.
That's great.
So then they come back 10 minutes later. They say, we want to meet the pitmaster of Slap Your Daddy Barbecue. That's a cool name. Where's the pitmaster? I say, oh, he's still in the bathroom. At that point, they Google me and they know I pranked them because I do not look like a pitmaster. So apparently, I talk to a lot of people at contests because I like to share my love for barbecue. And I didn't know that I actually spoke to Carolyn Wells. I didn't know who she was. She was just another member of the public who talked to me.
Person,
and apparently I resonated with her somehow. For her to actually, I heard the story goes that she actually told John Marcus to take a look at this guy from California and see if you can put him on the show. So I ended up on a TV show with no audition, no paperwork, no nothing. I just got a cold call and I thought to myself, what am I going to do? I've never been on TV. I wouldn't know how to behave. I don't have a persona like Myron where he has a strong, TV player. I'm just a regular guy. I'm regular Joe. But then I ended up going back to my coworkers and say, look what you guys got me into. You got me on a bucket list, and now there's some TV producer wants to put me on a TV show.
Holy smokes.
So they said, well, I pour my heart, and what's the worst that could happen? You make a fool of yourself, and that's it. So I said, why not? I'll just go make a fool of myself. But I did not know that they were going to be putting me in a show with 6 other teams, and 3 are world champions. If I had known that, I would have run the hell out of that show. Would never have done the show.
So did they follow you around for B-roll and stuff? Did they follow your team for a little bit?
They actually had basically 4 camera crews. So a camera crew is consisting of a producer, a shooter, a sound person, and followed by a production assistant. So a squad, a crew is made up of 4 people.
Okay.
So they have 4 times 4. That's 4 people, 16 people would descend upon a event site and follow all these seven teams.
Okay.
And they would go around and shoot all these different pieces. And then because it was one of those where it's unscripted, they have no idea what footage they're going to obtain.
Okay.
So what they do is they shoot about 80 to 90 hours of footage per episode. They take it back to the post-production studio in Hollywood. I know because John hired me to cater for the 100 post-production specialists in Hollywood. And they would look through 80 hours
so much
and try to build what we call 6 storylines. So the 42-second segment has 6 storylines. So they would sit down and try to cut the pieces to see if they can make a story out of that 80 hours of raw footage, which is to me a phenomenally difficult proposition.
For me too.
Right? For example, like in the episode that we shot in Mesquite near Las Vegas, we got hit by that crazy storm, just like that.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what happened. All of a sudden, the temperature dropped 30 degrees. The wind started to kick up. And then the camera crew asked me, can you give me a trash bag? I said, what the hell you want for a trash bag? So I gave him my trash bag, right? Then he took his finger and poked a hole in the trash bag, and then he put it over himself, and then he stuck the camera through the trash bag because he knew that we were going to get hit by this crazy-ass storm.
Oh, that's so smart.
So when the storm hit and everything was being blown away, I was holding onto my canopy in the middle of a lightning storm, right? He was, I guess, trying to shoot the scene to make sure that none of that action would be lost. Wow. And what is funny is some of the people in the post-production editing in Hollywood, they say that some of the scene and the footage from that Mesquite parking lot in the middle of the desert with the wind blowing and the rain blowing resembled some of the footage they edited, right, for that episode about catching the crabs in Alaska, right? So I thought, wow, that's pretty crazy that in the middle of a desert parking lot, we get hit by this supercell that blew everything away.
Oh my gosh, what an experience! And then leaving that, did that change everything for you barbecue-wise? Like popularity, a lot of people got to know about you really quick, and that's probably how I knew you, I would imagine.
It was basically a total accident, and the show, I think, set the stage for the, the introduction of barbecue competition to Americans, right? I think that people credit that as ground zero. They only made one episode like that. As you're probably aware, in season 2 and beyond, there were half a dozen seasons. They realized that financially it wouldn't make any sense. So it was shot in a studio in Burbank, in a set in Burbank. So the rest of the episodes were more what I call scripted. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like following the team halfway across the country, because it's just a very, very expensive way to shoot a series.
And maybe this day and age, well, without COVID, would be because... But I guess you still have a crew, and you still have to but lodging, logistics. It's still going to be expensive no matter what, even if you had. Because I was thinking equipment's cheaper these days, but that doesn't matter.
Equipment you can rent. You can rent production quality camera. Because I know a lot of crews come and shoot in my backyard. We have done a few cooking shows, so they fly in, they rent equipment and so on. But the key is the logistics of paying for the crew to go out and shoot, get the footage. Remember, every episode involves following the crew, right, from Friday through Saturday. So that is a 2 full days, 48-hour commitment by basically the 4-person crew that makes up one shooting team. And because we had 7 teams, they actually needed 4. So what they do is they follow you around. You are mic'd up all the time, so that they just hope that within those 48 hours, they grab enough footage to go back and edit into a story. So they had no script up front. So I want to be clear. A lot of people think that the show was scripted. It was not scripted. So everything that happened live.
Because I think a lot of people do think that's scripted.
Yeah, the ones that are more shot in the soundstage in Burbank, that was a little bit more controlled, because you had the teams come, they set up, and then they do a cook. Like I've been on other episodes like Smoked, right, when I flew to Austin and I did a staged cook. You have a very controlled set of the environment, the camera angles, and so on. So I've been on Food Network. Everything is very scripted, everything is very staged, because it's a soundstage that you're shooting on, versus following you in a contest in a parking lot. That is a completely different proposition.
Yeah, and with lighting, everything is it's all up to the universe. Well, now I was going to ask you, but I wanted to ask about that. But I wanted to know, did you because you're probably asked questions, you get emails all the time, requests to do stuff all the time. How do you ferret through? How do you deal with all this? Because I'm sure after that you were bombarded with all these opportunities, and you don't know what opportunity to. How did you manage that mentally?
I think that a lot of it has to do with what I need to do for my day job. So my day job, obviously has priority. I mean, like, I just finished
Yeah.
a 20-month gig setting up an entirely new data center in Sacramento. So my day job has priority. I try to spend as much time as I can doing barbecue. I used to compete about 35 weekends a year. So that's a lot of
That's a
weekends.
lot,
I've
yeah.
worn out 16 men. 16 men's wives. I told them, you are not going out with Harry anymore. You've gone out with Harry every single weekend. So I would leave my driveway on Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. I get to Kansas City on Thursday night at 10 p.m. I cook Friday and Saturday. I leave Sunday morning 6 a.m. I get back to my driveway at 10 p.m. on Monday night. I go to work on Tuesday.
Oh my gosh.
So not many people can take that grueling schedule. You know, I wore out my vehicle doing that, wore out myself. So now I have to be more selective about my kind of ability and stamina.
Yeah.
In the past, right, when I cooked the contest, I would come back from a contest on Sunday, and by about Tuesday, I would have recovered and felt 100%.
Yeah.
But nowadays, man, after contest,
That's a
1
lot.
week later, I'm still sore. I'm still sore and tired.
Yeah, no, definitely. No. It does catch up to you. Is there anything that you think you've learned about yourself through this pandemic?
Through the pandemic, I realized that how important it is to be emotionally healthy, to have physical contact, to have good mental well-being, right? I think that we don't realize how important having a routine is. Getting up, going to work, meeting your coworkers, coming home, preparing a meal. COVID completely changed all that. That you know, you end up in a mode where you are isolated and you are quarantined at home. I can understand why a lot of people find it unbearable. They end up going out, you know, going with family, and then end up making the situation worse. It's very hard for human beings. We are Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens, by definition, right, are pack animals.
Yeah.
Our species enjoys society, social interaction, emotional connection, and the physicality of being together as a tribe.
Yeah.
And when you are asked to stay alone at home, it's really, really hard. And I feel sorry for all those people who are, you know, elderly, who are perhaps isolated. So I want to do a special message to all your viewers that if you know people who are alone, reach out to them.
Oh,
you know,
for
we
sure.
have tools today that we never had. With a phone, with Zoom, with Skype, with Teams,
FaceTime,
you
yeah.
can reach out and touch people and talk to people and just take them out of that funk that they are in. I'm hoping with the vaccine that's happening that this thing will roll out soon.
And now that at least in
overcome.
California, well, I guess nationwide, it's 65 and older, so that helps out a lot for a lot of people. That's a big segment of, but also too, they still need to be careful. But
that's extremely important because what do you call it? We're in California, right? So someone is dying every 8 minutes. So in this call we're having, every 8 minutes somebody dies, and every minute, right? 10 people get infected, test positive. So it's really very serious.
Yeah, it's extremely serious, and it's so 6 people have passed during our time. That's wild to even think of. It's terrible now. But when the pandemic was rolling out, when did you start your YouTube channel? Your YouTube channel was 3 years ago or 2 years ago?
I started my YouTube channel about probably early somewhere in 2019 or so,
Okay.
and it was one of those things where I have been online for many years, right? I started my website, slapyodaddybbq.com, probably 10 years ago, and I used to do a lot of blog posts on recipes and my adventures around the country, but I didn't realize that people have shifted in their way of consuming information. Nobody reads now, right? Nobody likes pictures. People like video. So because my traffic on my website was not really growing, someone suggested, hey, why don't you do video? I say, I have no idea how to do video. I don't even have a video camera. So they say, why don't you just shoot some video on your cell phone?
Yeah.
So I said, who wants to watch my crappy videos on my cell phone, right? So I started posting my crappy videos on my cell phone with very poor sound, and I just say, well, see what happens. Well, it kind of took off after that. It was pretty crazy. And then people would start writing to me. And I make it a point when I am doing something, I like to try to reach out and have a relationship. So I respond to every single.
That's a great tip.
I don't believe there's any pitmaster or any YouTuber in America today that responds to every single comment. So because I'm like Arnold, right? If I need to work 16 hours a day, I will put in the 16 hours a day because I really want to reach people to spread the message of barbecue love. And you can only reach people one-on-one, actually. You cannot do it via
No.
a megaphone. You got to touch people one-on-one. So people cannot believe I do 58,000 comments. Last year, that's what YouTube said I did. I did 58,000 comments. If you do the math, right, that is a lot of comments every day. So I've learned to be able to respond to comments while I'm at home, I'm at work, I'm commuting. I've learned how to do that, and I've been able to reach out to people because I truly, truly want to help people become better at cooking barbecue.
Because I've watched your channel grow, and I watched those very first videos because as soon as you came about, you were on my radar, and I was watching, and it's grown exponentially, and it started out all you cooking in your kitchen, right? Wasn't that all the episodes at the beginning were you cooking in your kitchen, right?
Yeah, cooking in the kitchen, and really, what very, in my opinion, very poor production videos, and but the
But
thing
that
is that
doesn't
I
matter
don't think
though.
people understand that I am genuine, I am authentic. I show you what I have done to win first place USA. Not many people are willing to do that. They want to charge you money to be able to teach you. People cannot believe I show you the exact recipe that won KCBS first place. And then a lot of them try and they win first place. I have teams around the world come to America. For example, like people follow my steak recipes. I have teams from Melbourne, Australia, who won a spot at the World Championship. And they said, Harry, we just watched your video. We did exactly what you did. And guess what? We are now in America. So I have people who actually try my recipes and realize that this guy is a real thing. He's not BSing you when he says, hey, do this, do this, do this. You get a great result. Like people chastise me. Say, well, Harry, who told you to cook steak to 138 degrees? That is to the wrong temperature, because all the books say, no, I actually do it. I'm a practitioner. I'm not an academician. I actually do it, and I take it to a contest, and I take home a prize money. So I'm showing you exactly how I do it. If you do exactly what I show you and you want to follow, you will walk on stage. And people do it, and they go on stage on Saturday afternoon, pick up the big BAT. We call it a big-ass trophy.
And what's funny, too, is you have so many videos. Like, you have a massive amount. So it's on any type of meat, any type of protein that you're interested in cooking, you have a video for it, probably. I
have 50 videos on how to cook brisket, so people can tell me, hey, Harry, how can there be so many ways to cook? Because there's another 500 recipes in my head waiting to jump out. You saw me just do 6 recipes on the fly, right? I finished work at 5 o'clock. We started the call at 5 o'clock. So I literally had 12 minutes. So in 12 minutes, I cooked 6 chickens, right? 6 different ways, just like that. So you saw that happen?
Yeah, that was live. That was all. Yeah,
there was no prep. I just... I knew the call was at 5 o'clock. I had 12 minutes after work. So I said, okay, in 12 minutes, let's see what I can do with 6, chickens. 6, what we call mini quails. What do you call it? Mini quail? Mini chicken?
I guess so, yeah. It's like a micro chicken or something. Do you want to check them?
Micro chicken. I better go check on the...
I wanted to go over all the different things that you have kind of as a final thing so people can know all the different ways. Because your YouTube channel is Slap Yo Daddy BBQ. Is it... It's what, youtube.com/Slap Yo Daddy, or is it?
Yeah, if you Google Harry Soo or Slap Yo Daddy,
yeah, it comes up, right?
Channel pops up, yeah. Because I have almost 400 videos, so I'm a pretty prolific
so
YouTuber.
Prolific.
Because I have to catch up. A lot of my counterparts, right, like Malcolm Reed and so on, they have had 10 years on me. And you know me, right? I am a tenacious person. I can cook chicken 10,000 times. So that until I win first place. So in YouTube, there is no shortcut. It is a marathon. So for people who are watching this show, if you want to be a YouTuber, you just have to be ready to slog it and work hard.
Put as much content out as possible.
You're not going to create a viral video and become an overnight success. Yeah. YouTube is built today based on tenacity and hard work and perseverance. Because every minute, right, every 60 seconds, 500 hours is uploaded. So you're competing against 500 hours of footage every 60 seconds. For people to watch your video and for you to reach a point where you have critical mass and you reach a right number of audience to generate revenue, you will be hard to beat the YouTube algorithm. Because the way the algorithm works is that it picks people that they feel will be the leader. So let's say they decide, Kevin, that you will be the podcast king, right? They will then push you so that your views will go up and your subscribers will go up because they want you to be the podcast king so that anybody who wants barbecue podcast, they immediately go to Kevin's site. But that is done through artificial intelligence, through trending of the data analytics. So if you want to beat the algorithm, the only way you can do it is like my method is by brute force.
Yeah.
So I throw everything in the kitchen sink at YouTube and see what sticks. And I'm just completely shocked at some things I throw that I thought would be bomb.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I was
Good
looking
video.
through. It is interesting to see what that one brisket video. You have over 1 million views, right?
It's insane. I mean, I never imagined that video. It's very poorly made. I admit, mea culpa. It was not a great video. I've spent like other video. I spent hours and days preparing the video,
Isn't that
shooting and
funny? That's
reshooting it,
hilarious.
and it bombed completely. Bombed completely. Like barely a thousand views. Like okay, so go figure. So I try not to think so hard. I try to just put out content and put out content from my heart. So I always tell people when you put out content, always follow Harry's 3-prong strategy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Prong number 1 is put out what your viewers ask you to put out. No brainer. Second prong is put out what you feel you want to put out. Like people always ask me, Harry, why are you barbecuing durian? Who the hell cares about durian? I do.
You do, yeah.
So I like durian. So for me, to me, doing a montong or a shootout of durian, to me is fun. So I do videos for that. And then the third thing you want to always pay attention to is what's trending. So there are certain topics that are trending and you just have to do them. You have no choice. So if you want to be a content creator, follow Harry's 3 steps for success. Do what your viewers ask. I respond to all my comments, right? So all my comments, people tell me, Harry, we need a throwdown for Weber because you have all these Weber equipment. I don't know what to buy. Do I spend $150 buying a kettle? Do I spend $1,200 buying the smoke fire? Or do I go buy the Summit? Or do I go buy a Weber Smoky Mountain? So I say, why not? Let me do a shootout and cook all 4 and then see which one pans out. And these are the things that I think that my viewers have guided me, that they seem to want to know. Like I did one episode recently that somebody asked me, Harry, hot and fast versus low and slow. Which one's better? Good question, right?
Very good. That's a very good question.
Let me shoot a video, and to make it worth your time, I'll cook 3 briskets, prime, choice, and select. So 3 briskets, hot and fast, and 3 briskets, low and slow, to see if there's any variation. And yes, there was. I learned a few things myself. So there are variations of the grade.
You're listening to your audience.
Listening to my audience and then asking myself if it's not unreasonable to go ahead and do it. Like I did this whole thing about the duck. I did the whole Peking duck, which is kind of a passion of mine. Yeah. And then somebody says, Harry, that's TMW, too much work. Can you do a simpler recipe? So I said, okay, fine, let me go figure a recipe. So I found a way to cook a duck really quickly. You can cook a duck hot and fast, a hot and fast duck. And that was very popular.
The one thing that I know that comes off, and it's genuine, you really love this. You really enjoy this.
I enjoyed it. I enjoy a challenge because I am a diehard competitor. I can't compete now because my body can't take it. So I compete in terms of ideas. So somebody said, Harry, you're wasting my time. Cooking brisket for 12 hours is a total waste of my time. Cook a brisket in 2 hours. So I said, is that so? Okay. So let me show you how I can cook a brisket, a 14-pound full packer, not cut, in 2 hours. I did it.
I haven't seen that video. You
got to see that video. Yeah. Cook a entire 14-pound packer in 120 minutes, start to end. I did it because I'm one of those people. Once you tell me, Harry, you can't do it, that's completely sets me off.
Yeah, that sets you off. So that's a tip. If you're a fan of Harry, or you're just a fan in general, and you want to get Harry going, you should see if he can try to challenge him and tell him he can't do something.
Like people are challenging me now, right? Say, Harry, you're an Asian guy, you're an MSG. So there's a YouTube guy out there. His name is Uncle Roger. Mm-hmm. He is I guess you can say he's a YouTuber phenom because every video he puts out has millions of views. And what he does, he goes out and critiques people. And he critiques people primarily who make fried rice. So he goes around and, kind of badmouths all these top stars who make fried rice. and he has millions and millions of views. So they say, Harry, you're Asian, you like MSG. Why don't you just do a fried rice MSG and then challenge Uncle Roger to come and critique your fried rice? I say, okay, I can do fried rice. I have rice lying in our house all the time. So let me do a little Uncle Roger critique Harry on his fried rice episode.
Have you done it yet?
I have not done it yet. I do all these crazy things. Like somebody asked me to fry a brisket. Okay, I fry a brisket.
Have you fried it yet?
Yeah, I did fry a brisket, and it was a total failure. So I converted it into a win by making chicken fried brisket. So I made my own version of chicken fried brisket. So you can see my channel is full of all these crazy ideas. Yeah, can you imagine? I have no repeating videos. Out of the 400 videos, none are repeating.
Does your mind ever rest?
My mind never rests because I told you I'm like Arnold, right? If 6 hours of sleep is not enough, learn how to sleep faster. I told you, right? The important thing to realize is very important. Let me pause for effect, right? Yeah. Life is brief. Live it with intensity. The COVID has brought that message home.
Without a doubt.
Your life, my life, it's going to be brief. Live it with intensity. Every moment that you waste is a moment that can be used to give love, receive love, have better relationships, have better memories. And I think everybody in the world should have more kindness and love and try to make this world a more pleasant place to live. Because, whatever pleasure you have, the pleasure will end. Whatever suffering you have, the suffering will end. Because you have a limited, brief life. So try to make the most of your life the best you can. And I would submit helping other people, spreading love, spreading patience, spreading kindness, spreading compassion. It is really not a bad way to live your life. In life, right, you have I'm a project manager by trade. So in my mind, everything has a start date and an end date. Am I correct? Life is the same. Yeah. You have a start date, you have an end date. What you do between the start date and end date is very important. Mm-hmm. And I would submit in life, you basically go through 3 different phases. The first phase is when you are between age 20 to age 40. You just graduated from college, right? You're just a newbie. You just go out to the workplace. Yeah. So in the first phase of your life, please, in the first age 20 to 40, try to learn from as many masters as you can so that you can pick up all these skills from everybody you meet in the age 20 to age 40. When you hit 40 to age 60, you need to take everything you learned in the first 20 years and become the best that you can be. Become the best father, become the best brother, become the best sister, become the best mother, become the best coworker, become the best podcaster, become the best YouTuber. But you need to take that first 20 years and leverage it into becoming the best that you can be until between ages 40 and 60. Now, once you hit 60, which is the third stage, which is the stage I am in, it's time to give it all away. Give it all away to the people around you because you can't take it with you. Yeah. So I always encourage people to have that perspective in life, depending on which stage you're in. When you hit the third stage, give it all away. You can't take anything with you. You came with your body. You're just going to leave with your body. That's your true. Bank accounts, your zeros, the number of houses you own, the number of businesses you own, the number of trophies I have.
You can't take that with you.
It doesn't matter. You always heard, right? The saying, right? You never see a U-Haul behind a hearse because you can't take it with you.
That would be an interesting image, but yeah, you never do.
The Egyptians tried, right? The Egyptians
tried.
They
did, yeah.
Guess what happened? All the grave robbers robbed them. Mm-hmm. So what's the point? You can't take it with you. So while you are alive between the start date and the end date, make sure that you try to do the best you can. Life is brief. Live with intensity. That's the message.
This whole thing was wonderful, but that last part is going to resonate with me forever, I think, and that's the part. It's almost like I want to put that at the beginning and then the end, or because people, that's what people need right now, and people are lost, and people are wondering, and this is going to be over, and there will be another chapter in everyone else's life. So, and this is actually the optimal time now to really look inside yourself and figure out what you really want to do in life and really want to give to the others and the people that you love. And there's instead of like looking at this as a really dark period, there's a lot of love and a lot of light that can come out of this.
Absolutely. And one of my journeys is that I travel around the world. I teach a lot of students. I taught in excess of about 300 classes, trained 3,000 people myself in personal one-on-one interaction. Mm-hmm. I've seen some people who are the wealthiest people in the world, but they're not happy. Mm-hmm. They're not happy because they don't understand what is happiness. Happiness is a 3-step process. You start off by being grateful, because when you're grateful, then you become thankful. And then when you are thankful, then only you can be happy. So unhappy people are never grateful. They're never thankful. So my recommendation to most people is that if you want to be happy, just learn to be grateful. When you wake up in the morning and your toes can move and you're breathing, It's a good day.
That is a good day, yes.
It's a good day. So whatever happens that day, you are breathing, your toes are moving, it's going to be a good day because it's all about your mindset.
Definitely.
And once you understand that you need to be grateful, then you have a chance to be thankful. Mm-hmm. And once you're thankful, you will be blissfully happy. Your happiness is not measured by the zeros in your bank account, not the trophies. Your happiness is measured by what I call LRM, in terms of the measurement of how you live your life. L stands for love, the ability to give love and receive love. A lot of people tell me, Harry, I don't feel love. Well, I ask them, what love have you given? If you haven't given any love, how can you expect to receive love and consider yourself kind of deprived? So give some love so that you will receive love. That's L. R is relationship. Just like you and I have a conversation on this podcast, we build a relationship. Make sure that you build the relationships with people around you, your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers, your loved ones, because that is priceless. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing, before your brain dies and all your memories fade away, you have your memories. Mm-hmm. So if you focus on life and you do anything, ask yourself the question, is doing this thing going to increase LRM, love, relationships, and memories? If the answer is yes, do it. If it's just to increase money, your profit, your market share, your bank account, it doesn't involve LRM, don't do it because it's not worth it. Life is brief. Live it with intensity. Live your life focusing on getting more LRM, love, give love, receive love, relationships, and memories. So if you focus on LRM, you will be a blissfully happy person so that when the end date comes, which it will come, you're ready to go because you did have a good...
You just gave a master class in life. Well, have a great evening. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
And I love this so much. And yeah, we'll be talking soon. This is great. Thank you so much. What are you cooking? Are you cooking?
We're doing a test on some quail.
Oh, nice. All right, very good.
So I'm shooting, an episode later for my YouTube channel. So I just needed to get a little bit of going on the different recipes I'm gonna test and then feature the actual one I'm gonna use.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
So you get to follow along on a live one of Harry's crazy ass little cooks.
It's behind the scenes sort of, I guess. It'll
Behind the scenes, yeah. No stone left unturned. Yeah. Right, so
you get double exposure into this.
yes, we are gonna do a live cook and a talk at the same. Because hopefully we can kind of walk and chew gum at the same time. So I'm doing 6 different recipes here.
Yeah, I was gonna say quail 6 ways.
Quail 6 ways to see which one is the winner, and then I'll use the recipe in the actual post.
Oh, really?
Because it's people don't realize that when I shoot my videos, right? They think that it happens smoothly. You just have no idea the unbelievable, calamity behind the scenes, because it takes a kind of a while to kind of get everything going.
Oh yeah.
And people don't realize that it's not that easy to get a shoot done because things don't always happen according to plan. And a recipe that I feature on my channel for my viewers that they can watch in literally a few minutes, right, may have taken 3 days to perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's lost in translation.
That's great. Can I include some of this because I think that's important for people to know?
Yeah. This is a live shoot, so whatever footage you think that your viewers want to see, we can definitely show it because we can go. It's our time together. We're just shooting the breeze, having fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And then finding out what works, right?
Yeah.
You never know. Harry's crazy mind.
How often do you cook
you
quail?
See what I'm doing here, but I'm seasoning. Not very often, but one of my viewers had asked me, "Hey Harry, you cook a lot of different birds. How easy to cook quail?" I said, "Well, I'll let you know. I will show you kind of the creativity, the behind the mad scientist here. So I'm actually going to be doing 6 different recipe, and I'll tell you kind of what it is here.
Yeah, because on the camera I could see all 5, but then the bottom left of my screen, which is the furthest away left for you, I can't see that one. But we could. All
right. So
perfect.
Crazy Harry has a lot of things going on. You see now?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I am doing a test cook on quail for my channel because one of my Patreons said, "Hey Harry, you have a lot of chicken recipes. Are you interested in cooking quail? Because I think he hunts, right? I mean, you shoot quail, right? I guess So I say, hey, let me give it a shot and see what happens. So these are bred in America quail. Of course, it's farm raised.
Okay.
So I have 6 here that I'm gonna try and throw my little MMA style cooking on it to see which one resonates with me, and then hopefully I'll pick a finalist, put on my YouTube channel. If it all fails, then it becomes a failed experiment. So there you go, right?
Do you have an idea as to which one you think is going to win?
Okay, so why don't I tell you what it is?
Perfect.
Right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, please.
And you help me decide, right? Because we're gonna cook it together on this episode. So as we talk, he's gonna cook.
Yeah.
So I have a few inspirations from around the world. I have this one is a 5 spice powder and sesame oil.
Okay.
And a little bit of soy. This one is one of my favorite combinations. Is a pineapple, ginger, soy.
Excellent.
This one is a Korean style gochujang. Gochujang is fermented red, sweet, spicy bean curd paste. Gochujang.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. This one is a miso style Japanese marinade. Use miso. I use shiro miso, which is the white miso, with a little bit of sesame oil, a little bit of sugar.
Okay.
And then over here, I have one with the rub. I'm experimenting. I'm creating a series of rubs. I have about probably another 9 rubs hitting the market soon. So I'm going through my R&D. So this is actually my steak rub. Slap Yo Daddy steak rub. So I'm actually testing the steak rub onto the chicken.
Okay.
And then this is how the prototype steak rub looks like here. So I have all these different rubs that I'm making to try to test to see which one works. So I tested it on steak. It's absolutely fabulous. It's fabulous on brisket. I think I posted on Instagram the smoke ring on my steak rub is killer. That's the one that was used to create that Instagram smoke ring.
Oh, okay.
So this one is now trying on chicken. So you see it works. And last one, I did here a little bit of a riff on one of my favorite herbs, which is thyme. I think that the magic combination of thyme and chicken goes really well. So this is a little bit of a thyme chicken with a little bit of lemon from my backyard. So I have a red lemon tree. We can do a little bit of a lemon thyme chicken here. So let me go find my lemon here. So this is going to be 6 crazy ass recipes and see which one makes it to the final. We shall all find out together.
I think you have a lot of really interesting choices. This is going to be hard to choose, I think, Harry.
Well, I'm going to have to solicit your opinion over the Skype, and you tell me which ones you think are going to be good, right? So let's see here. So this one is more of a lemon thyme one. So I put it right here, and let's see if I can lift it up without contaminating myself too badly here. Let's see here. Put a little bit of lemon underneath here.
To be honest, I've never cooked quail before.
Okay, all right. It's a fun meat to cook. And it cooks really fast. And one of the mistakes people make is they overcook it because it really doesn't need to be cooked a long time. And
that's what I was thinking.
Yep. It doesn't need a lot of just a little bit of heat, and you're all set here. Okay, let me bring this to the pit here. So you can still see this, right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, I'm just watching. This is gonna be a lot of fun. This will be interesting.
I show my failures also. People seem to like that. They seem to think that I'm like this cooking guy. I am actually a total quack, right? I have no skill whatsoever. I go by brute force. If you want to win the lottery, you got to buy 1,000 tickets. That's kind of like how I operate.
What kind of pit are you gonna cook it on too? That Smith's.
That's a very good question. So we're gonna try it on the Weber fire. The reason I did it because I just cooked two briskets on it, and it's still relatively dirty, so no need to clean another pit. So I have it at 275, which is pretty hot. And for those of you people who are not aware of what a smoke fire does, it's a pellet cooker that has pellets, and it has these little rabbit pellets here. And it really is a good pit for smoking food low and slow. You notice my little hack here, I have pans.
There's water in there?
No, it's a dry pan. So I just put these are half height oil pans.
Okay.
And you just basically put it there, and you place your meat onto the grate here.
So it's just for easy cleanup?
So just easy cleanup, and then it just drips onto the pan. That way I don't have to clean it so often because you know me, right? I'm always process efficient and cost efficient and cheap and lazy. So I don't like to spend too much time cooking. And then a lot of times you can cook it with the top grate, but I prefer to kind of take the grate off here. And I have these cool shelves here that are aftermarket shelves. So these are the Weber shelves.
Okay.
And what is nice is you can hang your grate, your top grate underneath it, so it's out of the way.
Oh, that's perfect.
So it hangs like this. Hangs out of the way.
And what type of gloves? What type of glove are you using?
This is just what do you call this? A chemical glove from Amazon.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it for like a hazmat kind of?
This is kind of. Yeah, it's a hazmat glove. It works really well for barbecue.
Oh, that's interesting. No, because a lot of people ask me what kind of gloves do people use, and okay.
Yeah, well, we have I have the standard. These are the soft ones, right? So you use this one, and then you also need to make sure you can handle hot, surfaces. Mm-hmm. So with the leather glove and your little chemical glove, you're all set. Just less than $30 on Amazon. So it's all good. So let's see how this goes here, this crazy ass experiment with Kevin, and you can be here to see if it's a pass or fail.
We talked about it last week. Okay. You did mention that you burned some stuff on film.
We had a little accident with the steak, but I was trying to cook and talk and lost the internet, and then the steaks were on the critical phase of creating the sear on grill grates, and we ended up being sort of a little bit of a disaster. But we recovered. The lobster did not get burned.
Let's go check.
Looking good.
Definitely. What are you spraying it with?
This is just water for now. Let me turn on the light here. 1 second. Get my selfie light on here. See, I'm not sure you can see. Let me turn it down here. There we go. Is it visible? Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a selfie light so you can see. Yeah. So it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
we'll
good.
see. Let me check the temperature here. Second here. It's gonna fall down here 1 second.
Yeah, don't drop anything.
It's okay. My camera has fallen into my pit many times, so it's not nothing new. Hang on, let me get my temperature probe here. I wouldn't want to try to not overcook the chicken here because it tends to be quite delicate here. 105,
so
86. Let me go ahead and try to rotate it a little bit here.
Yeah, it looks like that's a little cooler part of the pit, huh?
Yeah, every pit has like cool spots and hot spots, so you just need to know your pit and just do a little rotation now and then, and just keep things moving along here.
Are you gonna cook it to 165, or are you gonna go a little lower?
No, I'm gonna do it a little less here because this is a Cornish. I mean, this is a game, so I'm gonna try to get it to around 155. 155 is plenty.
For the viewers, why are you spraying it with water?
Water helps in something called the Maillard reaction, which is the non-enzymatic pyrolysis of amino acids. So that's one of the secrets of cooking barbecue is you need to understand a little bit of food science and need to know how to create great flavors. Flavors are caused by chemical reactions, and it's a matter of just making sure that you can create the necessary environment to create flavor. I think talking and losing track of time here. Yeah, you can cut this to the interesting parts. I'm sure not everything we said is prime time, but
I think it's a lot of it's good.
133. Coming right up. So here's how you cook, right? So when you cook, you need to look at your meat to see what's working, what's not working. So I think it needs a little bit of oil. So what I'm going to do is I need to go grab something. So what happens is when you cook, you got to watch what's going on. So we need a little bit of this. I always tell people when you cook, don't cook like a robot. Don't follow a recipe. Just cook with the instinct. Look at the meat, see how it's doing, and then adjust accordingly. The key is to get flavor, get beautiful color, and beautiful presentation. So we're gonna spray some of this on it to give it a little bit of a. Sure. All right.